Hello, this is Papa B reading, and I'm going to continue reading chapter 13, which is titled An Expected Meeting, of the book The Magician's Nephew, which is part of the Complete Chronicles of Narnia, published by HarperCollins, and this book is written by C.S. Lewis. And I begin the second part of chapter 13. And it shows, said Diggory afterward, when he was telling the story to others, that you can't be too careful in these magical places. You never know what may be watching you. But I think Diggory would not have taken an apple for himself in any case. Things like do not steal were, I think, hammered into boys' heads a good deal harder in those days than they are now. Still, we can never be certain. Diggory was just turning to go back to the gates when he stopped to have one last look around. He got a terrible shock. He was not alone. There, only a few yards away from him, stood the witch. She was just throwing away the core of an apple which she had eaten. The juice was darker than you would expect, and had made a horrid stain round her mouth. Diggory guessed at once that she must have climbed in over the wall, and he began to see that there might be some sense in that last line about getting your heart's desire and getting despair along with it. For the witch looked stronger and prouder than ever, and even in a way triumphant, but her face was deadly white, white as salt. All this flashed through Diggory's mind in a second. Then he took to his heels and ran for the gate as hard as he could pelt, the witch after him. As soon as he was out, the gates closed behind him of their own accord. That gave him the lead, but not for long. By the time he had reached the others and was shouting, "Out! Quick! Get on, Polly! Get up, Pledge!" the witch had climbed the wall, or vaulted over it, and was close behind him again. "Stay where you are," cried Diggory, turning round to face her, "or we'll vanish. Don't come an inch nearer." "Foolish boy," said the witch. "Why do you run from me? I mean you no harm. If you do not stop and listen to me now, you will miss some knowledge that would have made you happy all your life." "Well, I don't want to hear it, thanks," said Diggory, but he did. "I know what errand you've come on," continued the witch, "for it was I who was close beside you in the woods last night and heard all your counsels. You have plucked fruit in the garden yonder. You must have it in your pocket now, and you are going to carry it back untasted to the lion, for him to eat, for him to use. You simpleton! Do you know what that fruit is? I will tell you. It is the apple of youth, the apple of life. I know, for I have tasted it, and I feel already such changes in myself that I know I shall never grow old or die. Eat it, boy, eat it, and you and I will both live forever and be king and queen of this whole world, or of your world if we decide to go back there." "No thanks," said Diggory. "I don't know that I care much about living on and on after everyone I know is dead. I'd rather live an ordinary time and die and go to heaven." "But what about this mother of yours, whom you pretend to love so?" "What's she got to do with it?" said Diggory. "Do you not see, fool, that one bite of that apple would heal her? You have it in your pocket. We are here by ourselves, and the lion is far away. Use your magic and go back to your own world. A minute later, you can be at your mother's bedside giving her the fruit. 5 minutes later, you will see the color coming back to her face. She will tell you the pain is gone. Soon she will tell you she feels stronger. Then she will fall asleep. Think of that. Hours of sweet, natural sleep without pain, without drugs. Next day, everyone will be saying how wonderfully she has recovered. Soon she will be quite well again. All will be well again. Your home will be happy again. You will be like other boys." "Oh," gasped Diggory, as if he had been hurt, and put his hand to his head, for he knew that the most terrible choice lay before him. "What has the lion ever done for you that you should be his slave?" said the witch. "What can he do to you once you are back in your own world? And what would your mother think if she knew that you could have taken her pain away and given her life back and saved your father's heart from being broken, and that you wouldn't. That you'd rather run messages for a wild animal in a strange world that is no business of yours. I don't think he is a wild animal, said Diggory in a dried-up, sided voice. He is, I don't know. Then he is something worse, said the witch. Look what he has done to you already. Look how heartless he has made you. That is what he does to everyone who listens to him. Cruel, pitiless boy. You would let your own mother die rather than... Oh, shut up, said the miserable Diggory, still in the same voice. Do you think I don't see? But I promised. Ah, but you didn't know what you were promising, and no one here can prevent you. Mother herself, said Diggory, getting the words out with difficulty, wouldn't like it. Awfully strict about keeping promises and not stealing and all that sort of thing. She'd tell me not to do it. Quick as anything if she were here. Well, she need never know, said the witch, speaking more sweetly than you would have thought anyone so fierce a face could speak. She wouldn't tell you, or rather, you wouldn't tell her how you got the apple. Your father need never know. No one in your world need know anything about this whole story. You needn't take the little girl back with you, you know. That was where the witch made her fatal mistake. Of course, Diggory knew that Polly could get away by her own ring as easily as he could get away by his, but apparently the witch didn't know this, and the meanness of the suggestion that he should leave Polly behind suddenly made all the other things the witch had been saying to him sound false and hollow. And even in the midst of all his misery, his head suddenly cleared, and he said, in a different and much louder voice, "Look here. Where do you come into all this? Why are you so precious fond of my mother all of a sudden? What's it got to do with you? What's your game?" "Good for you, Diggs," whispered Polly in his ear. "Come quick, get away now." She hadn't dared to say anything all through the argument because, you see, it wasn't her mother who was dying. "Up then," said Diggory, heaving her on to Fledge's back, and then scrambling up as quickly as he could. The horse spread its wings. "Go then, fools," called the witch. "Think of me, boy, when you lie old and weak and dying, and remember how you threw away the chance of endless youth. It won't be offered you again." They were already so high that they could only just hear her, nor did the witch waste any time gazing up at them. They saw her set off northward down the slope of the hill. They had started early that morning, and what happened in the garden had not taken very long, so that Fledge and Polly both said they would easily get back to Narnia before nightfall. Diggory never spoke on the way back, and the others were shy of speaking to him. He was very sad, and he wasn't even sure all the time that he had done the right thing. But whenever he remembered the shining tears in Aslan's eyes, he became sure. All day Fledge flew steadily with untiring wings, eastward with the river to guide them, through the mountains and over the wild wooded hills, and then over the great waterfall and down to where the woods of Narnia were darkened by the shadow of the mighty cliff, till at last, when the sky was growing red with sunset behind them, he saw a place where many creatures were gathered together by the riverside, and soon he could see Aslan himself in the midst of them. Fledge glided down, spreading out his forelegs, closed his wings, and landed cantering. Then he pulled up. The children dismounted. Diggory saw all the animals, dwarfs, satyrs, nymphs, and the other things drawing back to the left and right to make way for him. He walked up to Aslan, handed him the apple, and said, "I brought you the apple you wanted, sir." And that ends Chapter 13, An Unexpected Meeting. And this is Papa B reading please come back and let me read to you again.